Chapter 2 Capitolo 2. However, for practical purposes, in an obviously practical world, Pappachi's moth. It was a sky blue day in December 69, the 19th silent. It was the kind of time in the life of a family when something happens to nudge it in morality from its resting place and make it bubble to the surface and float for a while in a clear way for everyone to see. A sky blue plymouth would stand in its tough and spades past around rice fields and old rubber trees on its way to catching fatty hills in a small country with similar landscape, jungles, rivers, rice fields, communities. Enough bomb were being brought over cover all of it in 6 inches of steel. Here, however, it was peacetime family Plymouth traveled without fear or foreboding. The Plymouth used to belong to Pappachi, Rahel's and Esther's grandfather. Now that he was dead, it belonged to Mamachi, their grandmother, and Rahel and Esther were on their way to Cochin to see the sound of music for the third time. They knew all the songs. After that, they were all going to stay at the Hotel C. Queen. Hotel C. Queen, with the awful smell. Bookings had been made. Early next morning, they would go to Cochin Airport to pick up Chaco's ex-wife, their English aunt Margaret Kochama, and their cousin Sophie Moore, who were coming from London to spend Christmas at Yemen. Early that year, Margaret Kochama's second husband Joe had been killed in a car accident. When Chaco heard about the accident, invited them to Yemen. He said that he couldn't bear to think of them spending a lonely, desolate Christmas in England in a house full of memories. I must say that Chuck had never stopped loving Margaret Kochama, but she disagreed. She liked to believe that he had never loved her in the first place. Rahel and Esther had never met Sophie Moll. They had heard a lot about her through that the last week from baby Kochama, from Coach Maria, and even Mamachi. They had heard a lot about her. Though that last week from baby Kochama, from Coach Maria, and even Mamachi, none of them had met her either. But they all behaved as though they already knew her. That means that what will Sophie Moll think week. That whole week, baby Kochama eavesdropped relentlessly on the twins' private conversations, and whenever she caught them speaking in Malayalam, she left a small fund which was deducted as source from their pocket money. She made them write lines in positions she called them. I will always speak in English. I will always speak in English. 100 times each. When they were done, they scored them now with her red pen to make sure that all lines were not recycled for new punishments. She had made them practice an English car song from the way back. They had to form the word properly and be particularly careful about the pronunciation. Prayer, and enunciation. Rejoicing the Lord or always, and again I say rejoice, rejoicing again I say rejoice. Hannah's full name was Esther Yaakov. Rahel's was Rahel. For the time being, they had no surname because Amo was considerably reverting to their maiden name, though she said that choosing between her husband's name and her father's name didn't give a woman much of a choice. Hazel was wearing his beige and pointy shoes and his Elvis Puff. His special outfit Puff, his favorite Elvis song was Party. Some people like to rock, some people like to roll. He would cry when nobody was watching, strumming a badminton racket, calling sleep like Elvis, but moving a green gonna satisfy my soul as a party. His sliding sleepy eyes and his new teeth were still uneven on their hands. Rahel's new teeth were waiting inside their gums, like words in a pot. It puzzled everybody that an 10 minutes age difference could cause such a discrepancy in front tooth timing. Most of Rahel's hair sat on top of her head like a fountain, was held together by Hello in Tokyo, two bats and a rubber band, nothing to do with Love or Tokyo. In Kerala, Love in Tokyo have withstood the test of time, and even today, if you were to ask for one in a respectable lady store, that was you get to beers and a rubber band. Rahel's toy with words at the time painted on it. Then too. One of her visions was to hone a word on which she could change the time whenever she wanted, which according to her was what time was meant for in the first place. Her yellow rimmed red plastic sunglasses made the world look red. Hamu said that they were bad for her eyes and advised her to wear them as seldom as possible. Her airport frock was Amu's suitcase and the special matching knickers. Chaco was driving. He was 4 years older than Amu. Rahel and Nesta couldn't call him Chakan because when they did, he called them Chidan and Chadut. If they called him Amavian, he called him Apo and Amai. If they called him Uncle, he called them Auntie, which was embarrassing in public, so they called him Chaco. Chaco's room was stained from floor to ceiling with books. He had read them all and cut long passages from them for no apparent reason, or at least none that anyone she could fathom. For instance, the morning as they drove out through the gate, shooting their goodbyes to Mamachi in the veranda, Chaco suddenly said, "Gatsby turned out all right the end. It is what preyed on Gatsby. What fall dust flooded in the wake of his dreams that temporarily closed out my interest in the abortive sorrows and short-winded elation of man." Everyone was so used to it that they didn't bother to nudge each other or exchange glances. Jack had been a raw scholar at Oxford and was permitted excesses and eccentricities nobody else was. He claimed to be writing a family biography that the family would have to pay him not to publish. Hammond said that there was only one person in the family who was a fit candidate for biographical blackmail, and that was Chuck himself. Of course, that was the end before the terror. In the Plymouth, Amma was sitting in front next to Chaco. She was 27 the year, and in the pit of her stomach she carried by the cold and knowledge of that for her life had been lived. She had at one chance she make a mistake, she married the wrong man. Amma finished her school the same year that her father retired from his job in Delhi and moved to Yemen. Pappachi insists that a college education was a necessary expense for a girl, so Amma had no choice but to love Delhi and move with them. There was really for a young girl to do in a Yemen other than to wait for marriage proposal while she helped her mother with the housework. Since her father didn't have enough money to raise a suitable dowry, no proposal came Sam's way. 2 years went by, her 18th birthday came and went, unnoticed or less unremarked even by her parents. Amma grew desperate. All day she dreamed of escaping from a Yemen and the clutches of her ill-tempered father and bitter, long-suffering mother. She hatched several wretched little plans. Eventually one worked. Pappachi agreed to let her spend the summer with a distant son who lived in Calcutta. There, at someone else's wedding reception, Samu met her future husband. He was on vacation from his job in Assam, where he worked as an assistant manager of a tea estate. His family were once wealthy zamindars who had migrated to Calcutta from East Bengal after partition. He was a small man but well built, pleasant-looking, aware of fashion spectacles that made him look earnest and completely belied his easygoing charm and juvenile but totally determined sense of humor. He was 25 and had already been working on the tea estates for 6 years. He had been to college, which accounted for his schoolboy humor. He proposed to Hamu 5 days after the first meet. Hamu didn't pretend to be in love with him. She just waited a horse and accepted. She thought that anyone at all would be better than returning to Yamana. She wrote to her parents informing them of her decision. They didn't reply. Hamu had an elaborate Calcutta wedding. Later, looking back on the day, Hamu realized that the slightly feverish glitter in her bridegroom's eyes had not been love or even excitement at the prospect current bliss, but approximately height a large pegs of whiskey, straight, neat. Hamu's father-in-law was chairman of the railway board and had boxing belief from Cambridge. He was the secretary of the BABA, the Bengal Amateur Boxing Association. He gave the young couple a custom-painted power pink Fiat present, which after the wedding he drove off in himself with all the jewelry and most of the other presents that they had been given. He died before the twins were born. On the operating table while his gallbladder was being removed. His cremation was attended by all the boxers in Bengal. A congregation of mourners with lantern jewels and working nurses. When Hamu and their husbands moved to Assam, Hamu, beautiful, young, and chickly, became the toast of Planters Club. She wore backless blouses with their saris and carried a silver lame purse on a chain. She smoked long cigarettes in a silver cigarette holder and learned to blow perfect smoke rings. Her husband turned out to be not just a heavy drinker, but a full-blown alcoholic with a whole of an alcoholic's deviousness and tragic charm. There were things about him that Amo never understood. Long after she left him, she never stopped wondering why he lied so atrociously when he didn't need to do, particularly when in a conversation with friends, he would talk about how much he loved smoked salmon. When Amo knew he had eaten her, he would come home from the club and tell Amo that she saw means and blues when they had actually screened the bronze back cover. When she confronted him about these things, he never explained or apologized. He just giggled, exasperated Hammond to a degree she never thought herself capable of. Amos was 8 months pregnant when war broke out with China. It was October of 1962 or 1962. Planters, wives, and children were evacuated from Assam. Amos, too pregnant to travel, remained on the States. In November, after a hair-raising Bambi bus ride to Shillong, had missed rumors Chinese occupation and Indians impeding defeat, as and Rahel were born. By candlelight, in a hospital with the windows blacked out, they emerged without much fuss, with 18 minutes of each other. 2 little ones instead of 1 big one. Twin cells leak with their mother's juices, wrinkled with their effort being born. Amo checked them for deformities before she closed her eyes and slept. She counted 4 eyes, 4 ears, 2 mouths, 2 noses, 20 fingers, 20 perfect nails. She didn't notice a single sign of a soul. She was glad to have them. Their father stretched out on a hard bench in the hospital corridor was drunk. By the time the twins were 2 years and old, their father's drinking, aggravated by the long lines of TSA life, had driven him into an alcoholic stupor. 4 days went by, during which he just lay in bed and didn't go to work. Eventually, his English manager, Mr. Holly, summoned him to his bungalow for a serious chat. Hamu sat in the veranda of her home, waiting anxiously for her husband to return. She was sure the only reason that only wanted to see him was to sack him. She was surprised when irritated, looking disappointed but not devastated. Mr. Holland had proposed something. He told Amo that he needed to discuss with her. He began a little diffidently, avoiding her gaze, but he gathered courage as he went along. Viewed practically in the long run, it was a proposition that would benefit both of them. He said, in fact, all of them, if they consider the children's education. Mr. Holland had been frank with his young assistant. He informed him of the complaints he had received from the library as well as from the other assistant manager. I am afraid I have no option, he said, but to ask for your resignation. He allowed the silence to take its toll. He allowed the pitiful man sitting across his hill to begin to shake, to weep. Then Holly spoke again. Well, actually there may be an option. Perhaps we could work something out. Think positive is what I was saying. Count your blessings. Holly pours to her of pot of black coffee. You're a very lucky man. You know, wonderful family, beautiful children, such an active wife. He lit a cigarette and lowered the match to burn until he couldn't hold it anymore. An extremely active wife. The weeping stopped. Puzzled Brownie High looked into lurid red wine cream once over coffee. Miss Olin proposed that Papa go away for a while, for a holiday, to a clinic purpose for treatment, for as long as it took him to get better, and for the period of time that he was away. Miss Ollie suggested this Almond to be sent to his bungalow to be looked after. Already there were a number of raised, light-skinned children on the stage that the Holly got beheaded on typical semi-fenced. It was first incursion into management circle. Hammer watched her husband's mouth move as it formed words. She said nothing. He grew uncomfortable and then infuriated by her silence. Suddenly, he lunged at her, grabbed her, punctured and passed out through the effort. Hammer looked down the easiest book she could find in the bookshelf. The Reader's Digest World Atlas, and it in with it as hard as she could. His head, his legs, his back and shoulders. When an irregained consciousness, he was passed by the bruises. He apologized abjectly for the violence, but immediately began to bejewel her about helping with his transfer. This fell into Hamu was repelled by the medicinal smell of stale alcohol that seeped through his skin. And they dry, kicked, vomited curses his mouth like a pie every morning. When his boss violence began to include their children and the war with Pakistan began, Hamu left her husband and returned and welcomed to her parents in Yemen to everything that she had fled from only a few years ago, except that now she had 2 young children and more dreams. Pappachi will not believe her story. Not because she fought well of her husband, but simply because he didn't believe that any Englishman, will covet another man's wife. Who will covet another man's wife? Hamu loved their children, of course, but their wide the vulnerability, their willingness to love people who didn't really love them, exasperated her and sometimes made her want to hurt him. Just as an education and protection was through the window through which their father disappeared had been kept open for anyone to walk in and be welcomed. To Hamu, her twins seemed like a pair of small bewildered frogs engrossed in each other's company, lolloping arm in arm down a highway full of arcing traffic. Entirely oblivious of those tracks candy frogs, Hamu watched over them fiercely. Her watchfulness stretched the air, made her thought intense. She was quick to reprimand her children, but even quicker to take offense to their behalf. For herself, she knew that there would be no more chances. There was only Yemen now, and from veranda and a back veranda, a hot river and a pickle factory. And in the background, the cousin's eye whining mural of local disapproval. Within the first few months of her return to her parents' home, Hammond quickly learned to recognize and despise the ugly face of sympathy. All female relations with incipient spurs and several wobbling chins made overnight trips to Yemen to commiserate with her about their divorce. These kids stared, knee and gloated. She fought off the urge to slap them or twiddle their nipples with a spanner, like a chaplain in modern times. When she looked at herself in her wedding photographs, Amu felt the woman that looked back there was someone else, a foolish jailed bride. Her silk sunset-colored saree shot with gold, rings on every finger, white dots, sandalwood pairs over her arched eyebrows. Looking at herself like this, Amu's soft mouth was twisting the small, bitter smile at the memory, not of the wedding itself so much as the fact that she had permitted herself to be so painstakingly decorated before being led to the gallows. It seemed so absurd, so futile.